Welcome, everybody, to another episode of Head to Head Sports. Sorry I couldn't open with any cowboy trolling this week, but there's always next week. But I'm your host, Brian Parker, along with my co-host, Mr. Randall Hargrove. How you doing, sir?
Man, besides losing to them bitch-ass Cowboys,
Yeah.
I'm doing fairly well.
Well, that's good. You
How
better
you-
than me. I got pink eye, so that's why it looks like I look a little Chinese right now because my eyes are swollen. So,
Oh,
oh my gosh, yeah, and all the lights here in the studio don't necessarily help, but we will persevere for several reasons. One, I had to endure being at a hotel conference last week, so wasn't able to do the show. I mean, I was being held up at the Mohegan Sun Casino and Resort in Connecticut against my will, and just being forced to have a fabulous time and stuff like that. So it was just totally awful.
sounds that way.
Oh yeah, oh yeah, absolutely. You know, uh, I would have rather been able to do the show seriously, but yeah, it was just a lot. I was actually in the air on the way back to North Carolina at that time, but didn't get a chance to do that. But everyone, we are going to catch up, and that like last week, we didn't even miss it. We're back and we're ready to go. We are streaming live and direct on Amazon Fire TV, Roku TV, LinkedIn, Facebook Live, X, formerly known as Twitter, Instagram, as well as YouTube TV. We're on our drive to 10,000 followers on YouTube. So if you haven't already, please go to YouTube, look for Empower TV Network, and like, share, and most importantly, subscribe as you can help us with the growth of that movement. Also, another programming note, y'all. I bet y'all didn't know that. I know Rand always looks well rested, but this is one of the hardest working people in the world. Carries a full time job, and then has three bands now.
3 bands, man. 3 bands. Keeps
Three
me going.
bands. So
Yeah.
one of them is a tribute. Is it Lenny Kravitz?
One of them is a tribute to Lenny Kravitz. That is Let Love Rule. The other one is our alternative rock bar band. That's Kendrick Colt. That's the show that you came out and checked out. We do the very best of alternative rock music from all decades, 70s, 80s, early 2000s, 90s, of course. And then the third one is a straight up tribute to Alice in Chains. There you go, Kendrick Colt. Thank you for that. And that band is called Sick Man. We've
Sick
been
Man.
around for about 17 years now.
Wow.
Yeah.
And I know that if people want to check out Kendrick Colt when they're coming up and playing and everything, they can always go to Instagram and like that. But you also have one for Let Love Rule as well, right?
Yep, we got a page for Let Love Rule as well. That's on Facebook. Working on the Instagram right now, but it's definitely Facebook is up and running. No show scheduled for that one as of yet. But you could check out Kendrick Colt if you're in the Charlotte area. This Saturday night we'll be at the Brickyard Uptown.
Nice. Brickyard is one of those venues that I know you guys love going to, as well as a couple of other ones. I think you do Amos's, and you do Boatyard, and you do what's my place out in Valentine?
That's Bradshaw's.
Bradshaw's, right
Yeah.
on the road. Yes, sir.
My favorite spots. Yeah.
Yeah, so some of the bigger spots, but yeah, you guys should check them out. It's always a good time to be had. So definitely want to let you guys know about that's going on. If you guys also have other things that you have going on that you would like us to give a shout out to announce, if you're a business person and you want to promote anything, please let me know how we can help. We know advertising for small businesses is always a challenge, and media is always a good way to be able to expand that and let other people know what you have going on, whether you own a company, whether you make T-shirts, whether you have a band like or bands like Rand does, or anything like that, and you like to get the word out. Please reach out to me at theparkermedia@gmail.com, and let's see how we can make it. Also on Thursdays, we have our main show, Head to Head, where we go through the world of news and politics and talk about that. And then I don't know, we'll probably be talking about some voting and stuff going on tomorrow, since 4 weeks from yesterday, It's going to be November the 5th. Remember to get out and vote, no matter who you vote for. Exercise your
Absolutely.
vote. People have bled and died for you to be able to do that. Would love to see you do it. And make sure that this turnout this year is higher than any other year past. If we can get engaged in football, we can get engaged in our civic right to go vote. I think one's more important. Just like, but all of that said, Rand, before we jump into your Steelers, I mean, it only took 5 games, and we've already lost a head coach.
Yeah.
Man, you know, all these people talking about, hey, y'all got rid of Bryce Young real quick, man. I mean, we ain't replacing no head coach that fast. So Robert Saleh, in case anybody was under a rock yesterday, was relieved from coaching the New York Jets by owner Woody Johnson.
And owner Aaron Rodgers too.
I'm sorry. Co-owner Woody Johnson and Aaron Rodgers made that decision, and that's kind of where I wanted to go with that. Was, you know, Woody tried to do a little bit cleanup on aisle 9 and put out a statement because people kept saying, "Well, did you run that by Aaron before you did it? Did you let him know it was going to be done? And, you know, did he give you any kind of feedback on it?" And he came out with some bull crap about, nah, you know, I talked to him, but all we talked about was him, you know, going over 60,000 yards. And I was, you know, sorry that he took a lot of hits, and was he okay? But no, we never really talked about me making one of the biggest decisions for my organization. Oh, absolutely not. No, Aaron had nothing to do with it. And since then, Aaron Rodgers has felt the need to come out and also say, no, I didn't have anything to do with it.
Oh, please. Come on. I mean, I think everybody saw the tension on the sidelines, man, when he tried to hug him, and then he pushed him away. Aaron was not having it, didn't want any part of it. Then they both come out and try to play it down or downplay it in the press so nobody knows. But I mean, come on, just use your eyes and your common sense. There was tension between those two.
Exactly. And, you know, the thing that I always say is that, well, a couple of things. You know, this is not, oh, wait a minute. Oh, we got some talking on the side here. Tied for first place in primetime picks in my Commanders of 4-1. Aloha from Hawaii, gents. Wes, number one, the fact that you're tuning in from Hawaii, God bless you, brother. And
What's up, Wes?
And number 2, yes, your Commanders are rocking it right now. He says, I own you, LOL. And Anthony says he was escorted out by security that's bad. He couldn't say bye to nobody. Yeah, a lot of times they'll do that when they ready for you to leave. They, you know, ready for you to just get on up out of there before. If they, well, a lot of times they do that if they think there's going to be a problem. But I've seen that even in regular.
Or if they're being petty, and I think this is the case. There was no reason to really escort that man out the building, not give him the opportunity to even clean out his office, just get up out of here. But you're really gonna know the deal in the press conference if they start like mispronouncing his name on purpose. Robert Saleh, Robert Saleh, anything like that. They just trying to be petty, man.
Yeah, that is
stuff like that.
Let's say I'm 6 hours behind. Very nice. And I own you was in reference to Rodgers. Oh, yeah. He does say that. But yeah, I mean, I don't, you know, normally when an offense is struggling, the first thing that happens is the offensive coordinator gets thrown out as the scapegoat. Now, I think personally, because Aaron Rodgers handpicked the offensive coordinator, Nathaniel Hackett, that's why they couldn't touch him.
There you go.
because then
and you're on. That's everything that happened, Brian.
Yeah.
According to sources.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, according to sources, Robert Saleh was getting ready to demote or fire Hackett. That was definitely going to happen. Once word got up to ownership about it, then all of a sudden comes this change to where now Saleh is being escorted out of the building. So
okay,
you're trying to tell me that Aaron Rodgers had nothing to do with that? I
Aaron
don't
Rodgers
believe it.
can do that because the only reason that Nathaniel Hackett, Alan Lazard, and some other changes were made on that team was because of one Aaron Rodgers.
One Aaron Rodgers.
Absolutely. He had everything to do with Hackett being there. So if he even heard that Saleh was thinking about pulling the trigger on Hackett like that, even from an emotional standpoint, he definitely wasn't going to have that. So yeah, because like I said, normally when the offense struggles, remember when the Panthers, we all knew it was Matt Rule. What did he do? Fired Joe Brady. It was
Yeah.
not Joe Brady. Every time offense struggles like that, remember, the Steelers didn't let go of Mike Tomlin. They let go of dude last year.
Yeah.
I can't think of his name, but he was terrible, and they let go of him.
Mike Canada.
Yeah, Canada. Yeah, they let him go. So that's normally how it works. Is it's a coordinator. Hell, I've seen it where special teams was playing bad, and they got rid of the special teams coach.
Yeah.
I've seen that happen. But to actually say no, the fish is rotten from the head, at least from the sidelines, meaning the head coach, and we're gonna get rid of the head coach. Well, the problem with that is that now you have nowhere else to go but to Nathaniel Hackett next. Because I don't think for the life of me, even if you do somehow catch DeVante Adams, which I don't know if they're going to necessarily do, and if I was DeVante, I'd stay clear the hell away from them because they start to remind me of the damn putrid Houston Texans from a few years ago. I would stay away from that toxicity. But even if they got him, I don't really think their offense is going to improve that much unless they severely change the playbook because their plays have just been really bad. They've not been able to run the ball and establish the run enough to set up the pass. And when you have a 40-year-old quarterback, you need a couple of things to be working for you. You need good protection in the pocket so that, yes, he needs to be able to get the ball out quickly, but he also needs to be able to stand upright and not get sacked over and over and take a lot of pressures and hits. The other thing that you need is a solid run game so that he can set up play action and do those types of things to give his receivers time to get down the field. When the receivers can't get separation, they don't have time to get separation. The run game is not setting up the pass. And you have a 40-year-old quarterback. Brand, that is a recipe for disaster. And at the same time, we even saw this in the last years of Drew Brees. One year, Drew Brees looks like a world beater. The next year, he ages really, really quickly. And I think some of this needs to be said that the Aaron Rodgers that plays for the New York Jets is not the Aaron Rodgers that people have grown to love, hate, tolerate, deal with, put up with, get exacerbated by that played for the Green Bay Packers. It is not the same dude.
Not even close. He's not the same guy that can carry a team. He's not the same guy that can go down the field in 30 seconds and hit somebody on the sidelines so that they can beat the Cowboys in a playoff game. He's not the kind of quarterback that's going to carry the team anymore. Now he's part of the team.
Right.
And he's part of the team that's going to need to ride a good defense and, like you were saying, a run game. And that is the whole problem right now. That run game is terrible. When you got Breece Hall out there and he can't even average 4.0 yards per carry, then that's going to be a problem for Aaron. And Aaron is starting to take some of those hits. He's not liking those hits. He's blaming the offensive system for it. So he's apparently got his way. We will see now if there's going to be any improvements in the run game and the offensive efficiency since Mr. Aaron Rodgers is once again been the coach killer and got his way with the offense. We'll see.
Unbelievable. Wes says, I don't want to get political, but I'm not really buying the Lebanon flag idea as a rationale for firing. Wes,
I haven't even heard that.
I didn't even hear about a Lebanon flag. I do know that Robert Saleh is Lebanese. But I don't know if that had anything to do with it. Anthony says Rodgers didn't have a say last season because he was out for the year. If you wanted to be fired, if you wanted him to be fired, you should have done it last year. You promoted the defensive coordinator, and he haven't done nothing. Well, the defensive coordinator, it is given the defense is the best thing about the team. Have they been as dominant as we have seen before? No, but when you have an inept offense, it can put a lot of wear and tear on that defense. I will say that for sure. So
Definitely.
that is definitely. I'm gonna give the defense somewhat of a pass on that until I can see um, uh, if they can play complementary football. Even when you have a great offense, if you're not playing complementary football, you're gonna wear down that defense. I don't think
Definitely.
the defense is the problem. It is you when your eyeball test will show you week in and week out they can not push the ball down the field. They're playing a lot of they're not. I mean, look at the points. They're not scoring points.
Exactly. You put up 9 points against the Broncos and get beat 10-9.
Right.
Defense did their job.
Right.
Defense held Denver to 10 points. That
It-
should be enough to win a ball game.
Mm-hmm. If your defense, if somebody told you every week your defense can hold the other team to one touchdown under 10 points, you would think every week, man, we got a good chance of winning. Or
Absolutely.
we should win. Surely, because normal offenses can score 20 points in the game, 24 points in the game. So if you can hold the other team to 9, you should win. He said,
Every
yeah.
time.
He said, yeah, Allen is doing better than Brees Hall. Oh, absolutely. But, is that Brees's fault? Is that the line? The way different guys run, maybe, certain ways the line is set up, it looks like it gives the guys an edge. I saw that last year a little bit with Najee Harris and Jalen Warren, where couldn't figure out if, like, damn, why is it Jalen Warren breaking out better runs than Najee? Najee's more of a power back. Jalen's more of a scat back, so he can find them little holes a little bit better. Najee's that guy that when he finds that first hole, he gone. Jalen can wiggle around a little bit more. They have two totally different styles, and that reminds me of Allen and Brees Hall a little bit too. That same dynamic. So I'm not overly surprised, but I still think that the main issue is that the line just isn't opening up holes very well for either one of them, and that just tells you that if Allen is doing that with that force of an offensive line, if they could fix the line issues, how much better would he be doing? Uh, so I look at that too. But at the end of the day, Rand, I just think they got an old quarterback. They felt like the window is closing. They don't know if they'll have him next year. And the only thing with having Aaron Rodgers next year is instead of being a 40-year-old quarterback, he'll be a 41-year-old quarterback. And you are on borrowed time with Aaron Rodgers. I thought it was a silly trade to begin with because you didn't have a lot of time. You had to go all in real quick, and that created a sense of urgency. And that was just the craziest thing in the world. It kind of reminds me of when, and I know this is totally different, when Marvel brought Ben Affleck in to be Batman. Why'd y'all do that knowing his ass was already too old to play too many movies of Batman? Y'all got to start with a younger dude so that you can get a whole lot of films out that dude. You can't bring in no old ass Ben Affleck and now you got to say, well, he's the Bruce Wayne of Gotham that's been around for 20 years. But you got a young Flash, young Wonder Woman, and young Aquaman. It made no sense. It made no sense because as he's going to be on the tail end, they just breaking in and they don't go together. So the
And speaking of
longevity,
the
and then you got to do a whole another damn reboot, and then we got to watch the whole origin story all over again. Well, guess what? Now I can't translate that back to the Jets because once Aaron Rodgers' old ass go away, and you got to bring in a new quarterback, what you think gonna happen? You got to do a reboot. Now you got players like Sauce Gardner gonna be coming up for a contract extension, and some of those other guys. And now you got to say, hey, do we pay these guys? Do we let them go and get some equity and value out of them? Or do we have these high-priced guys on a bad team?
Yeah, but speaking of your comic book reference, for anybody out there with any interest in going to see the Joker Part 2, do not waste your time or your money. Go, you with me, B? You frozen. I think we got some technical issues, y'all. Brian is frozen on the screen here. Wes, what you seeing? Are you seeing Brian frozen and me live? Anthony says Brian looks like a little kid. Yeah, he's frozen. Okay, so Brian got some technical issues, and I'm live. All right. So yeah, just talking about that game was terrible for me as a Steeler fan. I want to go ahead and talk about this Cowboy game while we got Brian away. But this is now several, well, not I want to say several years in a row, but the past 2 times that we have played the Dallas Cowboys, the game has ended in last second touchdowns for Dallas winning the game. And for those out there that had the displeasure of seeing that game, like I had the displeasure of seeing it, it was just heartbreaking for me as a Steelers fan. Not only, I mean, just got to go back and rewind and see all of the chances that we had to win this ball game, right? We're down there. Well, they are down there at the goal line. And I think it's 3rd and goal. The running back attempts to jump over the line. Running back jumps up to the line. He gets hit midair, fumbles the ball. The ball goes rolling on the ground, and it looks like the Pittsburgh Steelers are going to pick it up, win the game. Game's over with if they recover this fumble. But of course, Dak Prescott is in the right place at the right time. Instead of the fumble rolling one way, the ball rolls right to him, right to his grasp, and he picks it up. And the Cowboys have another shot. 4th down. Let me see. We got Anthony saying you need another wide receiver back. Look, man, this has been something that I've been saying for the past couple of months as a Steelers fan. We are deficient of a number 2 receiver. That is the biggest problem on the team right now. Outside of George Pickens and the connection that he has with Justin Fields, and it's a good one. They're doing very well to be a young combo there. But if you look around the league, you need twofold. You can't just have one wide receiver out there because the defense is going to key on that one receiver. Most of the time, double that receiver, remove him from the game plan. And then who do you have on the other side that's a threat? For Pittsburgh right now, it's absolutely no one. So what you're seeing as far as the Steelers' inability to score a lot of points is that the defense are locking down on George Pickens. So you're right, Anthony. We need another receiver on the other side so bad right now that, it's just something that we've been trying to deal with. And we're lucky to have won 3 games because Pittsburgh could easily have a losing record right now. So I can't really complain about that. But Justin Fields is doing a great job for starting off as a wide receiver. I mean, just starting off as a quarterback in the league. And he's getting his fair shot, and I'm glad of that. But the thing about that is just the fact that think of how much of a better job that he would be doing right now if he had capable wide receivers on each side of the field. He's already got his tight end in Fairmouth, but you got one wide receiver that is getting open and capable of doing a good job, and then you got other wide receivers that are threes playing the 2 position. So that's the biggest problem on the team right now, outside of injury, because we are like decimated right now in injury. But just getting back to the heartbreak of that play, and it looks like I don't know what's going on with B. Looks like he's chiming in. Will Tomlin go to Russ or keep playing Fields is Brian's question. So I'm imagining that Brian has a problem with the camera right now. So maybe he's working on that, trying to get back on. But to answer your question, I think bam, there he is back at it. So to answer
Spectrum.
Sorry. What happened with your camera? Was your camera's issue?
No, my internet went down. My wife says it's been going up and down all day. So Spectrum, get your stuff together. We're not being affected by Milton yet. So yeah.
Yeah, it looked like they're saying you look like you were just sitting there frozen like a little kid in ice.
I heard everything that you were saying because I also have you up on my phone, so that's why I was still chiming in.
Got you.
Phone's on 5G, so I don't have to worry about Spectrum and their crappy internet. So.
But yeah, just to answer your question, then I'll let you take it back over. But do I think they'll go back to Russ or keep playing it? I think they should go with Fields still. I mean, he didn't have the best game last game, but he didn't turn the ball over either. So I think that's a good part of it. And he's a better threat with the run than Russ is. So I think they will stick with him as long as he doesn't go out there and just wet the bed like a Bryce Young has done.
You, you
I
know,
think,
I will say this, Rand, and I don't know if you saw this or thought the same thing or noticed it when they brought Kyle Allen in for one play because, and I knew they were going to put Fields out. He kept trying to shake it off like, no, I don't need to get checked. I'm like, bro, the back of your head did hit that surface a little bit, so they were going to check, and that was a ruthless hit. It was legal, but it was a ruthless. But I noticed that his throws before the hit seemed to be a little bit more conservative. Like they were very much short throws where if the receiver didn't get a lot of yards after the catch, get a missed tackle and that kind of thing, then it wasn't going to produce a lot of yards. Cal Allen comes into the game, and right off the bat, they give him one run play. Then the next play, he throws it down the field and makes a nice completion. And I'm
yeah,
like, damn, where that? So then Fields comes trotting back in, and then the next thing he does is he starts throwing darts, and I'm like, man, that's been there all game. Why'd you wait till you got hit? It's like he threw better after he got hit.
yeah,
I don't know if anybody else noticed that, but it seemed like he was. Yeah, you're right. They're locking down Pickens. They basically said George Pickens is not going to be the reason that we lose this game if we lose this game. They said it's going to be. They bottled up the middle. They wouldn't let Najee really get loose, and they dared him to find other receivers outside of Pickens and Freiermuth to a point, and say, "Hey, you're going to have to beat us another way." He started out really good. He was using his legs and stuff like that, and I think that a lot of times these guys really, really want to hold on to the ball to the very, very last minute because they don't want to just rely on their legs all the time. And I get that, but he's got to keep that clock going to know I got to go read, hot read, secondary reads, and all that. But I got a clock in my head that has to go because when you don't have DeMarcus Lawrence, when you don't have Michael Parsons out there, you got to take advantage of that. And that's the
you
only
have to. And I was sitting there at home watching the game, just wondering, where is this pressure even coming from? You got two guys that are not even on the field.
right.
So I was disappointed in the play of the offensive line. I definitely thought that could have been a lot better, but came down to a final play of the game and almost won it despite all of that. I
That's
was sitting here explaining about the fumble that happened. That fumble rolled the other direction. We're probably picking it up and the game is over. But
what about the one when dude came across and hit him in midair and knocked him? Is that the fumble you talking about?
that's the fumble I'm talking about. I mean, we
It
pick up
was
the ball, game's over.
incredible. Yeah, oh yeah, oh, definitely. But
Yeah,
just that hit alone was incredible. That I
yeah,
mean, that's just crazy.
yeah. That was awesome, man. A lot of people, were kind of liking it to Troy Polamalu's hit back in the
But
day, diving across the line, doing crazy stuff like that. But
yeah, because
yeah,
it was
have we picked up that?
kamikaze.
Yeah. Had we picked up that fumble, the game's over. But of course, it didn't go our way. And then the very next play is fourth down.
Yeah,
The receiver's well covered. It was
yeah.
just a well placed ball,
Shallow
and
cross. Yeah.
yep, and we stripped his arm of it, but it wasn't a hard enough strip in order to get the ball out of there. So they end up winning the game on that touchdown.
Yeah.
Disappointing, but it is what it is. Pittsburgh's got to pick up the slack, move on. They got a lot of injuries they're dealing with right now. They're in Vegas this coming Sunday. That's another gettable game, and they better
Very
go ahead
good.
and get these right now while the schedule's early because it gets a lot harder as we go down the line here when it comes to December.
Well, I mean, absolutely, and to that fact, the Raiders announced that Aiden O'Connell rather, over Gardner Minshew will be starting. So Watt, Hayward, y'all gonna have some time to really go and pressure this quarterback and really get after him. If your defense can hold them to 9 to 12 points, then you have a great chance of being able to come out and win that game. Even with all that said, though, Rand, you guys are still tied for first place in the NFC. I mean, AFC North.
Yeah, because of the terrible play of the Cincinnati Bengals for one, and then the god awful play of the Cleveland Browns.
So the doo-doo. Yeah, the doo-doos look bad.
Complete doo-doo.
So,
Yeah.
so you may be number one by default, but you're tied up there with the Baltimore Ravens. Let me catch up on some of these comments because it was funny. Wes had said that on a separate note, Dak is the only quarterback to ever throw 2 interceptions in the same game over 2 different days because of the
I
storm.
saw that.
That is,
Yeah.
you know, Wes. I need those unearthed crazy stats because that's just insane. Um, and Anthony talking about my spectrum issues. I say that a lot when I don't pay my bill. Bro, you know what? You know what? I shouldn't be paying my bill for this service. Every time I pay the bill, I sit there and go, are they the dumb ones or am I dumb for keep paying their ass? So, I toil with that every single month, Anthony. I do. Um, I'm bad for saying this, but Justin Fields got injured. And then so he said the same thing I did. Yeah, he got hit and then he started slinging the ball. I'm like, bro,
Yeah.
doing that.
Weird. Super
Okay.
weird.
And then Robbie says, what's up, Robbie Jenkins? The Steelers should give Wilson a shot. But see, here's the problem, Robbie. If Russ gets out to a slow start, everybody's gonna immediately cry for them to throw Fields back in, and you're not gonna have any continuity. I think
Exactly right.
that Fields hasn't done anything to lose the job yet.
That's right too.
I think we need to wait for his performance to lose the job because we haven't seen what Russ can do, and we don't know if it would be an improvement from Justin Fields or if it would
Exactly.
be.
And here's the issue with that as well. I mean, right now the Steelers are kind of struggling running the ball too because of the injuries that they have. Najee is basically the only healthy running back that they have, right? So he's the main reason that the ball is moving when it comes to running back because Warren is injured.
Yep.
We also have the running back that we got from Atlanta. I'm forgetting his name right now.
Cordero Patterson. Yeah.
Who's that?
Cordero.
Right, Cordell Patterson. He's also injured. So, in order to keep defenses from just keying on Najee to run the ball, you got to kind of keep Fields out there right now because he's definitely a threat to run the ball and get positive yards. You put Russ out there, Russ ain't running nowhere.
No, you know that when you come back there, he's still gonna be back there. Which Rand, I really think, to your point, that should really give Pittsburgh an idea that we may need to make Justin Fields more Jalen Hurts-esque right now. Because if I can stack the box, because I know that your primary running is going to solely come from Najee, I need to create another running threat, whether that's Justin Fields or not, and make him have some design quarterback runs, not to get him injured or anything. And maybe they've been doing that because they weren't sure where Russell Wilson was, because in the last game when he got knocked out, Kyle Allen was listed as number 2, and Russell was listed as the number 3 emergency quarterback. So Russell couldn't come in anyway. But if they elevate Russell to number 2, then you do have a little bit more of an insurance policy by allowing Justin to run a little bit more. So that hopefully helps soften that box a little bit for Najee to then start getting some more runs. Najee is like a boxer that he'll give you a couple of blows in the early rounds, but it's them late rounds where them blows really start to wear you down. He's one of the kind of backs that he gets stronger, he gets more of a head of steam over time. But if you sit there and you keep stunting him so early in the game, it kind of wears that part out.
I'm telling you, right now, without Justin Fields being in the game, there would be 8 in the box for every single play.
And if I was an opposing coach, I would do the exact same thing until they prove to me otherwise that A, they have a throwing game, and B, that they have another option. Even if you had like a Xavier Worthy type of guy on your team where you could run gadget reverses and end arounds and things like that to soften that up. So if you load that box up, you're going to expose your edges a lot more because you're just not going to have enough guys that's going to be able to run those angles to be able to shut down that run. And even if those end rounds only give you 4 to 6 yards, you do that on the first down. Now you have a second and short where now they have to be ready for the run or the pass. But it's those second and longs and those third and longs where they can kind of then pin their ears back and then just play you straight up and keep everything in front of them. Even if you catch the ball 4 or 5 yards, they wrap you up right there. Now you're still putting the ball down. So I think that's kind of the strategy is they're going to force you to show them you can throw the ball or that you can keep your running game going. And the running game is effective and it's moving the sticks somewhat.
Correct. With Russell Wilson out there, that entire game plan is going to change.
That's true.
They're just going to key on Pickens and they're going to key on Najee, and that's it.
And the line,
that's what they're worried about.
Now the line has to worry more about protecting him.
That's right. Because they ain't worried about Russ getting to the outside, gaining no yards running. They ain't worrying about him extending the pocket or extending the play with his legs. Not worried about any of that with him.
Yeah, you won't get too many ineligible men downfield with Russ back there.
No design runs with Russ either.
All right. Robbie says, hold on, sorry. Oh, Lord. The camera angle live didn't have Dak in it, so I was like, ball game, Pitt's gonna recover. Wes was talking about that fumble.
Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah, I thought the same thing. I didn't know Dak was gonna jump down for it. Anthony, shout out for New England for finally starting Drake May. I think that was always the thing too, is they were going to give Jacoby the opportunity, and then when it looked like, hey, what do we have to lose? Go to the rookie. Anthony says, well, Pittsburgh promised Wilson the starting job before the season starts. I agree, which is why you don't do that. Anthony, you're right. That's why you don't do that. That's why I didn't like the fact that Chicago, and we'll talk about them in a second, with the Carolina game, you don't promise guys stuff coming in and then you basically clear the field for them to just come in and not be challenged. Every job should have competition. I don't care what job it's in. Not that, and I'll get into that in a minute, because this whole thing about we trying to protect young dudes from feeling the pressure and looking over their shoulder. I'm sorry, if I drafted you number 1 overall, F your feelings. You just say that when you sat there and made me give you a guaranteed deal and all this money and stuff. F your feelings.
You better tell them.
If you want to eat, you better go fight for your food. I'm not gonna just sit there and put it on a plate and tuck the napkin up under your neck and roll that. You better go play.
All that crap they did with Bryce Young is what I'm going through my head right now.
You good? You comfortable? You want a little filet meat? You good? You want me to just put it in your mouth? I don't want you to hurt your wrist. Stop it. These grown ass men. Stop. Anyway, Robbie says, give him that chance against the Raiders and see what he's capable of.
Robbie, you wasn't listening to what we just said. There's no way you could have heard what we just said and put that comment out there. We cannot put Russell Wilson in the game right now.
Especially not with now. Look, the Raiders are not a lot of things offensively, but defensively, I wouldn't do that. Not his first game, and it's on the road, I believe. And Wes says Wilson isn't going to add anything Fields can't do. I'd keep the continuity. Anthony says that's why I don't see Adams in Pittsburgh. Pickens complaining about not getting the ball enough. Getting Adams, then he won't get it. Yeah, that's true. But a lot of that is that both of them kind of do the same thing. They're field stretchers. So I don't know. I don't think that's the Robin that you need to the Batman. I think you really need somebody that can play a little bit more slot, even though you've got tight end Freiermuth that does that. But you need a receiver that can play that X clown and stuff like that, and then let the other guy be more of your 9 guy and stuff like that. But let me tell you, you can't call 9 and your quarterback don't have time to air the ball out, because you can't fool the defense that you may be running. You need the defense to hesitate that split second to give your receivers time to get out there like that. So you can't call 9 fly routes with one receiver and you don't have another receiver that can play that X and all those other different route trees to be able to free that up. find the soft parts of the defense, especially when they play that too high safety, that Tampa 2 type of defense, and you can get that receiver coming across the middle, starting out, give a double move 5 yards in, cut across the middle, and give him something across his line of sight. That's what you need. That's not really what Pickens' game is. That actually was more Deontay Johnson's game.
Yeah, I think Adams and Pickens is a definite a duo that would work on the field. Problem is, when you're talking about Pickens, is appeasing this dude and appeasing this dude with a number of balls that's going to come in his direction to make him happy. Quit all that sulking and pouting that he's been doing and been known for. So that would be a distraction from that, because DeVante Adams likes to eat too.
Exactly.
So there's only enough football to go around. I mean, you put them both on the same field, and defense are going to have a lot of things to worry about. You can't double one because the other one's going to eat lunch.
Yep.
So they got to be singled up, which is good for Pittsburgh, and it's going to really affect their offense. But the problems and the attitudes that might come from that may not be worth the deal. I understand we got a deal on the table right now for Adams. It's supposed to be another aggressive offer, the same as it was with Ayuk. Ayuk was very close to signing his deal. We'll see what Adams does with the deal that Pittsburgh has by November the 5th. We'll learn something by this November the 5th. That's the trade deadline. So
that's also too, y'all.
It's also what?
Election day.
Oh yeah, yep.
Make sure
Do not forget that.
Make sure you vote.
Yep.
Anyway, and Robbie, I'm sorry. He says, my bad. I can hardly hear before I can't hold my phone up against my ear. I'm sorry about that, bro. I can do sign language, but I don't know. I don't want to distract you while you're driving. No, actually, I can't really do sign language,
Remember that sign language person from several years ago that got paid for just being up there doing all the fake mess?
Yeah, right. I'm like, oh my gosh. I know people are pissed or they're getting like wrong messages and stuff like that. Anthony says someone said Ayuk was about to get traded before signing that deal the same day. Well, they probably were like, if that was their last ditch effort, Anthony, if they couldn't get him signed, they were going to have to do something because he's got a lot of trade value still. So
So the story with that was that he was basically a Steeler. He had accepted the offer verbally. He was actually on his way out of the building in order to go sign with the Pittsburgh Steelers. One of the GMs that was not even supposed to be in the office that day in San Francisco, but just happened to be in the office and knew that Ayuk was in the building cleaning his locker out and cleaning his stuff out. Said, let's give this one last shot. He physically ran down from his office into the locker room, got Ayuk, and they had one last negotiation, which Ayuk agreed to. Wow. Other than that, he was a Pittsburgh Steeler. He was a Pittsburgh Steeler. It was just that close. It was just that close. You're talking flight scheduled, hotel scheduled, a meeting with the Steelers already scheduled to sign the deal. Yeah, it was just that close.
Now, I didn't even hear that one. That's amazing.
Yeah.
It tell you what people can do when they backs against the wall, though. When you think you got plenty of time and everything, you're a little bit not as committed to doing it. But once your back is against the wall, now all of a sudden, now everybody got all the answers.
Yes, this is just really interesting in hearing stories like that. There was a similar story with Mr. Masagi, and his whole deal with telling Cleveland no and then accepting the Atlanta deal, and then Cleveland gets him on the phone miraculously and he turns the plane around and comes back and signs the Cleveland deal, which I'm sure Atlanta ain't got a problem with that.
Did you see that? And since we were out last week, it was funny because after the Doo-Doos had lost in week 4, Deshaun Watson was asked about, hey, you used to run a little bit more.
Oh my God, yeah. Hold on a second, and I'm gonna talk to you about that. I got somebody at my door. I'll be right back.
Okay. All right. So it was really, really funny. And while he's doing that, I will pocket the Cleveland thing because I think it's hilarious. and I'll go over one of the other scores that we had. So we talked about the Vikings and the Jets, 23-17. Uh, I don't know about y'all, but we Sam Darnold is going to get some considerations for comeback player of the year. Jermaine says I'm at the door. That would be interesting, Jermaine, if you're in Mint Hill, but I would not doubt that. You get around pretty much everywhere. But Sam Darnold didn't have the best throwing game in the world, but he's 5-0. When we looked at the Vikings in preseason, we weren't convinced simply having Justin Jefferson on the team that the team would really be able to do things, because we knew that the Vikings were going into the season talking about they were comfortable with Sam Darnold. And at the time, me and Ram were like, man, there's no way in the world you guys can be comfortable with Sam Darnold being your starting quarterback. That's just crazy. Y'all just saying that. Surely you're going to pick up somebody else. But they go into the season. Now they're the only, outside of the Kansas City Chiefs, the only 5-0 team in the league. And Justin Jefferson, to his credit, is still eating. He is still producing at a very high level. How well is he producing? That is a great question. When you look at your top receivers in the league, let me see where we are with receiving. Uh, as far as top receivers in the league, he's still up there. He's got 26 receptions, 450 yards. We have some other receivers getting a little bit more. Yeah, Nico Collins. He's definitely doing just a tad bit more. Jamar Chase had a monster game. So he's a little bit up there too. But I do believe that as far as yards, that when you look at yards, Justin Jefferson is number 3 in receiving yards at 450. Only Jamar Chase and Nico Collins have more yards than he does. Only Nico Collins. I'm sorry. Nico Collins has 3 touchdowns. Justin has 4, and Jamar has 5. So that's really pretty good still, because he's still producing under Sam Darnold. All of those are great stats, and it's a testament to what Darnold has been able to do. This is another one of the reasons why I think it's crazy. Yes, Steven. Hey, what's up, Steven? Vikings defense is pretty good too. That's a big help. That's a big help. But your primary receiver is also getting loose and getting a lot of good balls thrown his way too. So, I don't want to diminish what Darnold is doing. You're absolutely right. I would say, though, Stephen, and hopefully you agree, they're playing a lot of complementary football where the defense isn't getting faced with a lot of 3 and out, 3 and out, 3 and out, 3 and out, and they're having time to continue to be a stout defense. Before the season started, we knew the defense was good. We knew that there were some definite offensive weapons, but the biggest question mark was, hey, the guy behind center is not somebody that has reliably been that one to be the guy. He was drafted that way in New York. That didn't work out. Of course, then he ended up in Carolina, had a couple of good games, but that ultimately didn't work. Then he got pulled over to San Francisco behind Brock Purdy. So he didn't get a lot of playing time there. And then he pops up on the radar in Minnesota, and now he's doing his thing. So I'm trying to give Sam Darnold his flowers, because I basically written him off. Now, is he a bust? Yes, he's a bust. Because he was drafted in a position where he was supposed to be a franchise quarterback, and you can't be on your 4th team and me not call you a bust. Kind of like Baker Mayfield. Baker's doing great things in Tampa. Is he a bust? You're damn right he is. Is it all his fault? No, because Cleveland is a mess, and they're showing that now, even with having Mr. Masagi there, definitely a mess. But I just wanted to give Sam Darnold his flowers, because all he does is win. And even though he did throw a pick in this particular game, he is still really, really doing a good job at protecting the ball. When you look at the passing leaders, let me just see where he is with that. Pulling up my stats here. As far as passing leaders and passing yardage, Sam Darnold is 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So he's right there in the middle, a little bit above the middle. Not totally great. Which ghosts possess Sam? Yeah, he did see all them ghosts before. This just shows you that sometimes, people are later bloomers. Maybe they were really good in college. That doesn't always translate to the NFL game, and maybe they need a little bit more time to catch up to the NFL game. And I think that definitely was a Baker Mayfield thing. I think that was definitely a Sam Darnold thing. Now, some people say, well, Brian, Baker Mayfield just needed some consistency coordinators and stuff like that. That's a lot of truth too. But I honestly think some guys benefit the longer they're in the league or the longer they have to sit and not have the pressure of starting immediately. Look at what Jordan Love is going to be patient zero for this, y'all. He had to sit behind Aaron Rodgers, and it's paid off for him a lot. He got into the right system. That's absolutely right. He had a lot of things built around him, a good defense, good offensive players, a decent offensive line. And then it shows that he's able to do those different things. Sam Darnold on the year, though, I was just wanting to point out, has really done well in protecting the ball. He has 4 interceptions, um, but he also has 11 touchdowns. He has 103 quarterback rating, which is really good, and he's completing 63% of his passes. That's pretty good. I mean, let's give him again. I'm gonna give him his flowers. Sam Darnold is doing a good job with that. Another one of the games that we had this past week, we had the. Let me get back to it. We had the Panthers and the Bears. Now, I thought the Panthers had a chance of winning this game. Shame on me for believing that. Andy Dalton, 18 for 28, 136 yards, 1 interception, didn't pass for any touchdowns. The more impressive thing in this game to me was 2 things. Caleb Williams did a hell of a job. He was a lot more poised. He was a lot more efficient. He didn't seem rattled. Some of that could be because Shaq Thompson isn't in the middle. He's out again for the season, and the Panthers defense has been marred by injuries again. Even though J.C. Horn looked pretty good, but Caleb Williams looked a lot more poised. His passes were more on time. He was throwing guys open. He threw for 2 touchdowns, no interceptions, and of course, we knew because DJ Moore would be playing his old team, he would have a good game. 5 receptions, 105 yards, and he caught both of the touchdown passes that Caleb Williams threw. Wes says, man, we really got to talk about Sam Darnold before we talk about Daniels. Well, yeah, because I really want to get into a more lengthier conversation about Daniels. I'm kind of linking that together by talking about Caleb Williams because, again, to talk about Caleb Williams and Jaden Daniels is loosely being linked to what we were talking about last year with C.J. Stroud and Bryce Young. The guy that came in second came out of the box a little bit hotter than the guy that came out first. If this game that Caleb played against the Panthers is more of what we're going to see, then it should calm down some of these Bears fans. Rand Caleb Williams looked a lot calmer. His passes were a lot more precise. He was 20 of 29 for 304 yards, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. No, we weren't getting a lot of pressure up the middle. Shaq Thompson is out for the season, but the Panthers defense was not getting to Caleb Williams. Even though there was some pressures, he looked a lot more poised. And for that, he gets a lot of credit. He's starting to settle in. And if this game is any indication of what we're going to see in the future games with Caleb, look out. It's going to be a 2-man race for Offensive Player of the Year between him and one Jaden Daniels.
Yeah, exactly. And not only that, you're going to have one hell of a race in the NFC North between the Vikings and what the Packers are doing. And if you add the Bears to the mix, I mean, that's going to look really good. On top of the Lions, I mean, now you got a situation that's looking like the AFC North as well. Yeah.
Exactly. I was thinking the exact same thing. Now, I was telling everybody, I really thought the Panthers had a chance to win this game. They played really tight up in the beginning. Their opening drive was when I thought, man, if they would just keep running the ball and open up those holes for Chuba Hubbard, they would definitely have a chance because Chuba gained so many yards off of that opening drive, and then after that, not so much. And then the receivers just did not help Andy Dalton out at all by making themselves available for some balls. I saw Mingo drop a couple of balls. DeVante Johnson dropped a couple of balls. That was definitely the issue. Time of possession then became an issue in the game where actually, I'm sorry, they caught back up in time of possession. It was only 26-33. So that wasn't the problem at all. Efficiency on third down definitely was. They were only 3 out of 12. They allowed 4 sacks of Andy Dalton. They only got Caleb Williams once. So a lot of those things, some of the other things too, didn't rout its head against Carolina in this game. Penalties have been a big thing with them. They minimized the penalties in this one. Chicago actually carried more penalties in this game. Overall, I just think that the offense just did not have enough. They only ended up running for 120 yards. Chicago ran for 128, and then the passing yards were very anemic at 172. So at the end, they just got too far behind where now the defense of the other team forces you to have to throw the ball down the field because you can't just sit there and try to run to try to catch back up. Once Chicago got out to that insurmountable lead, it put Carolina in a position to be in a one-dimensional team.
Yeah, and I didn't even like the game plan. I'm glad you touched on that. The previous game against the Raiders, they were attacking straight down the middle of the field. Even against the Cincinnati Bengals, they were allowing Dalton to go straight down the middle of the field, and he had a lot of success with that.
It seemed like they pulled that back for some reason. They were more.
Yeah, they were, for whatever reason. I know the Bears are a strong defense. They're a top 10 ranked defense. So I don't know if that factored into the equation that they were like afraid to attack the Bears over the middle. But to me, don't change up what you're doing because you're afraid. Make them stop it. Make them prove that they can stop it.
Make them respect those receivers because once they saw that the Panthers had no intention of pushing the ball down the field, that just made the running game more inept because then they just said, I don't care if you got Miles Sanders back there. I don't care if you got Blackshear, Chuba Hubbard, it doesn't matter. We're going to plug it up, and you're going to have to show us that Tommy Tremble, Ian Thomas, Mingo, Leggett, DeVante Johnson are going to be able to receive the ball and keep the chains moving. Once they showed them that we have no intention of doing that, it was easier for them to control our running game and make sure that the Panthers would not catch back up from a score standpoint.
I never saw so many lateral passes from the Panthers. I mean, it was almost like a Bryce Young game plan. It was just weird to see them pass to the sideline so much when I was used to them throws right over the middle that Andy was hitting the previous 2 games. So that was just really weird to see. And then, like you were saying, once they get behind and the offense starts sputtering and they do a lot of 3 and outs and they're not moving the chains anymore. The Panthers this year do not have the type of defense that they could just lean on to win games.
Right.
That defense is, against the pass, it's a little better, but run defense is terrible right now. So if they fall behind in games, it's really, really hard for them to be competitive, especially if the offense is not moving the chains. And we saw that the Bears just exploited the hell out of that. They went straight down the field on their first drive as well, tied the score up. Then they got ahead of us, and once they got ahead, it was no looking back. It was over from that point.
Robbie says embarrassing gameplay total by the Panthers, and then also said there was no reason to let a rookie quarterback run all over the field like he did. Panthers are notorious for letting rookie quarterbacks look a lot better than they are. So we'll see if this was Caleb's coming out party or if he just caught the Panthers at the right time on their schedule. We will see. It could be either.
It looks like the Bears had a bye in week 4, I guess. That's what I'm saying. You let me know if you see something different. But if they had a bye, then they had to prepare for Carolina. That would be.
No, they're 3-2, so they've played 5 games through 5 weeks.
Okay, I'm not seeing who they played in week 4. I'm missing that games on my schedule. So.
Yeah, the first game that they had Golly, man, now I'm missing it too. Okay,
Yeah.
so they just played the Panthers. They played the Rams before that. They played the Colts before that. They
Okay.
played the okay. They played the Titans first, and then they played the Texans.
Okay. So they haven't had a bye.
No. The week this past week was the first week of byes. That's why Philly and somebody else was on a bye. But week 5 was the early bye week. So we did get a few teams out for
Gotcha.
bye this week. But yeah, I was while you were gone, I was giving Sam Darnold some flowers because besides the Kansas City Chiefs, the Minnesota Vikings are 5-0. Won't go back over everything that I said, but I gave him credit because we knew everything else was set up for the Vikings to be decent. But the one piece that we didn't know was what the quarterback was going to be. Randy's 13 as far as passing. He has 11 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. Justin Jefferson is in third place in receiving. So he's been able to still produce even with Sam Darnold being his quarterback. There are only 2 other receivers above him, and that's Nico Collins and Jamar Chase. And only Jamar Chase has more touchdowns by 1 than Justin Jefferson. So Darnold is still getting it done. Yes, he has a good defense. Yes, he has some good offensive pieces around him. But it also lended myself to the fact that some guys just bloom late. Drafting him as he got drafted wasn't a good thing for him because he's a bust. But now he's on a team that's using him for who he is, and he's making the most out of it. You cannot deny the Minnesota Vikings are 5-0. You are what your record says you are. They're 5-0. So Sam Darnold could be a comeback player of the year if he leads these Vikings into the playoffs.
Absolutely, man. But here's the thing I'm afraid of. We've seen these hot starts by Darnold before. He actually had the Panthers off to a hot start when he was here. He went 3-0 a couple of years ago, and then completely fell off the wagon. At that point, ended up getting benched, and then the year that he relieved Baker Mayfield and came in for him, he also had another hot stretch, and he was doing very well, winning games, and then the turnovers started coming. Especially in that Atlanta game that they played. Not Atlanta, I'm sorry, Tampa Bay.
It wouldn't stop. Yeah.
It just wouldn't stop. So I'm kind of, I'm rooting for him on one hand, and then on the other hand, I'm kind of
waiting to see the shoe to drop.
Because it happened a little bit just last week. I think he threw 3 picks last week. So he's starting to slow down a little. I don't think he had 200 yards.
No, he threw 1 pick. It was the other dude that threw a bunch of picks. Aaron Rodgers
had 1 pick last year. Okay.
He had 1. It was the co-owner of the Jets that threw 3.
Okay. I wonder where I started. So did he have like 179 yards passing?
He had 179 yards. That was
okay.
Yeah, he was very pedestrian. 14 of 31 for 179, but Justin Jefferson got 92 of those.
Okay, so that's what I was thinking of. It was actually the completion percentage that was a problem, not the interceptions. So, because 14 out of 31 is below 50%, and below 60% is bad, but below 50%.
Now for the year, he is at 63.5. He's at a 103 QBR. But you're right, this past game. Now, can we chalk some of that up to it being overseas and the travel and some of that stuff? Maybe. Offenses don't always travel as well as defenses do. So we'll see in the next game they play if he rights that ship. I actually have a feeling he will. And I'm not a big Vikings or Sam Darnold fan, but he could be potentially turning me into one.
Me too. I'm pulling for him, actually. I'm not a Sam Darnold hater, just because he was iffy with the Panthers. I'm actually pulling for the guy. And here's a question that I have for you and the listeners.
Yep.
Right now, as we sit here today, Sam Darnold is considered a bust, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what does he have to do in order to turn that around?
Nothing.
How far? Well, wait a minute now. If he wins the Super Bowl, you can't call him a bust, can you?
Oh yeah.
Okay, he's still a bust in your definition of a bust.
For my definition of a bust, it's when you, because the title of a bust is given to somebody that had high expectations, came in and underperformed. Anthony, you ain't lying, bro. Well, not. We can't really say that though, because this past game, Burrow lit it up.
He lit it up, man.
He was not the reason that they lost that game. I'm not gonna go there with you. If he had continued like he was, but
I mean, can you call Burrow bust? He's been to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, that's true too. That's true too.
Yeah.
So the only reason I give Sam Darnold, even with Baker Mayfield, Baker is playing a lot better now than he did when he was in Cleveland. And let me be clear, y'all. Was Baker Mayfield a bust on his own? No. Cleveland is a disaster. They helped him become a bust. But the same thing could be said about the Jets. The Jets are a disaster because once they got rid of Sam Darnold, they didn't fare any better with Zach Wilson. They're not faring any better right now with Aaron Rodgers. What's the one thing that's the same? The organization.
The organization.
So at some point, organizations turn players into busts? Absolutely.
They can, yeah.
But once you've drafted somebody that high, you're basically saying that this guy is a franchise-defining player. Did Sam Darnold change the franchise of the Jets? No.
Hell no.
He go somewhere else to do that. Well, let's see. He had to go to Carolina. He had to go to San Francisco. Then he caught on with Minnesota. There is a word for that. Journeyman. There's another word for that. Jag. Just a guy. Is he in the right system now? Absolutely.
So let me ask you this, or let me just make this comment.
Can he reverse being a bust? No.
Okay, so in your definition of a bust, he cannot reverse that, even if he goes on to win the Super Bowl. And I respect that. I'm not saying that's wrong, but I would like to hear like what the listeners. Well, sure,
y'all let me know.
Y'all chime in on that because I'm at the other end of it. If Sam Darnold goes on to win the Super Bowl, just my personal definition, I wouldn't call him a bust anymore. But I want to know what you guys think.
Yeah, and I know that that's harsh because my expectation of a top draft pick is you're supposed to be that dude. When you get drafted that high, quarterback success depends on a team system. I totally agree. And says if you don't think Baker a bust, Sam Darnold. If you don't think Baker's a bust, Sam Darnold is not too. Yeah, I think Baker's a bust.
I think Baker's a bust too. And let me change my definition slightly, Brian. I'm going to say if Sam Darnold wins the Super Bowl and he's the reason that the Vikings win the Super Bowl, not just tagging along, then I'll remove the bust label for him.
I get you because he could just be like Trent Dilfer 2.0.
Exactly.
Where everybody else around him, and nobody's sitting there going Trent Dilfer's going to the Hall of Fame.
Exactly, and therefore you would still be a bust if you were taking number one.
Right. So when I sit there and thank you, Robbie. That's so true, Brian. When I think about a bust, that's a hard tag to give somebody. You wouldn't call somebody to get drafted in the third round a bust or fifth round.
No.
It's really specifically for a top 10 pick, most likely a top 5, top 3 pick that was brought into an organization as a generational talent, as someone
with the expectation of
that could take the other players around them. And I always use the term force multiplier and take what they have, even if it's not a lot, and enhance those guys. It was all. It reminds me of Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan got the most out of B.J. Armstrong, Craig Hodges, John Paxson, Steve Kerr, Bill Cartwright. All of those guys on any other team wouldn't have been a damn thing. But because they had Michael Jordan and Scottie Pippen as force multipliers, they made them all world beaters. You had to respect the fact that if Jordan sat there and made the defense suck into him and he passed that ball out, Paxson was about to make you pay. Hodges was about to make you pay. Kerr was about to make you pay. You had to respect the other guys because of him.
Yep, because he was that dude.
When that dude drops back, you got to respect him and now everybody else because of him.
Right.
You put those guys on any other team and that dude wasn't behind center, you would give two craps about them dudes. But because he's back there, those dudes are going to perform, play out of themselves in a way.
Yeah.
Sam Darnold isn't necessarily getting the Vikings to do that. He's just being efficient.
He's just being efficient. I agree.
A well-seasoned quarterback that has been around now long enough to now know how to play the NFL quarterback position versus the college quarterback position.
Yep.
And for that, I give him all the credit in the world for hanging on, learning, taking his lumps, persevering, all of those things. I give him all the credit, not letting the beginning dictate how the story is going to end.
I give him credit too.
Absolutely.
Yep.
So the bust is only attributed to the fact of how he was drafted, not how he's going to end his career.
And don't get it twisted. As we sit here today, my opinion of both Darnold and Baker Mayfield, they are both busts right now.
Bingo.
As we sit here today. But if they should somehow be the reason that their teams win a Super Bowl, then I'm willing to remove that bust label.
I mean, I hate to say it, Justin Fields, he's a bust. He's brought into Chicago. He's brought into Chicago to do something. He wasn't able to do it. Was that all his fault? No. But hey, Robert Saleh got fired for something that he had nothing to do with neither. Sometimes you're guilty by association.
Yeah, that is true. It's like it doesn't, it's not their fault that they're drafted where they're drafted, like Young. I mean, nobody told. I mean, Young didn't have anything to do with Carolina giving up all they gave up in order to get him, right?
Exactly.
It's not his problem that he accepted all that. But when he signs his name on the bottom line, as my Ric Flair analogy will go, he's accepting not only the money, but the responsibility of turning that franchise around and being that force multiplier that you're talking about. That also comes along with the money. And when you don't do that, I'm sorry. It may not be his fault that he was drafted where he was drafted, or the Carolina Panthers gave up what they gave up for him, but they did it anyway. He's in that position, so there's an expectation of him.
And when they sat there and said, he's our day one starter.
It's on. It's on.
There's a saying, too much is given, much is required.
Hell to the yeah.
Because
heavy is the head that wears the crown.
Literally.
Damn, tell me that wasn't timely.
You see that big 50 on there? Yeah, that's for my 50th. That's crazy. But no, that's true. So the bust is tied to the expectation of the player, not his full career. Can a bust turn their career into a productive career? Absolutely. I've seen plenty of guys that were starters. Josh McCown was a starter for a long period of time, became a journeyman and a successful one. Ryan Fitzpatrick was a starter at some point, became a journeyman and was a great journeyman. Nick Foles won the damn Super Bowl and was a journeyman. A lot of these guys, lots of respect for them, doing really good things outside of their football, their playing career in the NFL. Fitzpatrick doing Thursday nights on Prime and stuff like that. All of that stuff is good. But the expectations is attributed to the word bust. And the good thing is that it's only been a few of them. Because most of the time when you draft a player, you don't overreach. You draft them in the right place so you don't have to have the bust tag. It's those overreaches. Is Daniel Jones a bust? You damn right he is. And he's still on the same damn team.
Hell yeah.
He was drafted 6. Does he look like the number 6 overall pick in anybody's draft? Madden, fantasy football, anything, Legos? No.
Not even when he was at Duke.
No. They overdrafted him. Overdrafted. Is that his fault? No.
Nope.
It's
but
not.
It is what it is.
But it is what it is. So that's kind of, and I know that, like I said, I know that sounds harsh, but that's kind of where I landed on that. Real quick, Rand, I teased before you went out about Deshaun Watson being asked about, hey, you used to run a little bit more when you were in Houston. Now you don't seem to run as much. And, he had this little comment talking about, well, they ain't bring me here to be a running quarterback, and all this that. I was sitting there thinking, bro, they gave you $250 million. You put on a cheerleading outfit if they tell you to. I ain't no running quarterback. Boy, there was one word I thought about that came to my mind. I can't say it, but Paul Mooney and Dave Chappelle would have said it quicker than me. Negro, please.
That's one of the N words.
That's the only one I could use. But
I hear you, loud and clear.
I look at it when he said that, I'm like, what?
Yeah, I said the same thing. It's my thought completely. It's like, you better do whatever you have to do to move the chains. I don't care if you ain't a running quarterback. You better become one.
And for $250 million, you better be giving massages to the defensive line on the sidelines, bro.
You better be a running quarterback, crawling quarterback.
We'll take anything
you do to move the chains.
Like Will Levis and throw from your damn knees if that'll help. I don't know. But yeah, Lord, when he said that, I just looked at him like, bro, you are so about to be booted from this team. They're just going to go ahead and eat their loss with you.
And you know how much that loss is going to be?
Yeah.
A dead cap hit of $175 million for next year if they move on from him this year.
Damn.
It is the worst deal in the history of sports. That's what they're calling it.
They need, but you know what? They got to. Because the only reason they're playing him right now is because of the contract.
That's it.
Basically saying to your fans, we're willing to crap on this season because of financial obligation. I've seen coaches let go with 3 years remaining on their contracts. I've seen, and I get it. I mean, nobody wants to give up that much money, but nobody told your dumb ass to do that to begin with.
For real.
Sometimes that's how you learn. When it
Didn't we both say that was a bad deal when it initially happened?
Totally.
We have not changed our tune on that.
Because there was no reason to do.
No.
Even the other owners were like, please don't do that. Because we want to have to sit there and now have every quarterback that we got to negotiate with say, well, the Browns did it.
Yep.
Now, they were able to push back on that narrative, but they didn't even want to have that conversation. Wes said first, is it wrong for me to like that Mooney comment, LOL?
No.
No. And Wes also says, imagine a fan base that is actively hoping he gets in trouble with the law so he can avoid his contract.
Yeah, that's what's going on. That's seriously what's going on.
Hey, look, I ain't saying plant nothing in his car, but you can put a couple of bricks in the back seat.
Have one of them Instagram models hit him up online. Tempt him a little bit.
He'll fall for that. He'll fall.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's all you got to do with him is just set him up, then have everybody come running into the room saying I got you and all that, and but or just go ahead and eat the money. Browns lineman thinking the only way to get Watson out is if he gets injured. Hey TJ Watt, just run past me.
Just dive right at the legs.
What was that Matador? Damn, he got back up. Do it again. Wes says, with the right money, I can be a masseuse for a few minutes and catch him on camera. Damn. For the team. I don't know where this show is going.
Wes, you been to any Diddy parties you need to tell us about?
I know, like Wes, back away from the baby oil. Back away from the baby oil. Do not put together talking about bad boys.
Some things are not worth the money.
Put the baby oil back down, Wes. You seem too ready. Oh my goodness. Yeah, let's not do that. But they do need to get rid of him and move on. And we talked about some of the other games. We had a really good game the other night, the Chiefs and the Saints. The Chiefs just keep finding ways to win. I was more impressed by the fact that the Chiefs decided that, hey, we're down in receivers. Yes, we have Juju. Juju actually had a good game. We have Worthy and all of that. But you know what we have more than anything? We got tight ends. So in one play they had, or not just one, but in a couple of sets they had 3 tight end sets out there,
Mm-hmm.
and they just made it work with the 3 tight ends and sprinkled the receivers in along with it. They said, "Look, our running game, we don't know where that's going because Carson Steele fumbles a little bit too much. We're gonna still get him the ball. We're gonna lean on Kareem Hunt, who they welcome back with open arms after how he started his career with them.
Yeah.
He was actually a really good bell cow with them going over 100 yards rushing. But it really came down to Patrick Mahomes finding Travis Kelsey, Kelsey throwing laterals.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
You know what the Chiefs are? You know what the Chiefs are?
What's that?
They are the New England Patriots without the cheating.
Right.
They do exactly what they need to do in order to win football games.
Game by game.
Game by game. Yep.
They look at who's in front of them and they don't just say, you're going to be able to game plan with us based on what we did in the last game because we made it totally different in this game.
Yep.
So that planning that you did for the Chiefs, ain't no party like a Diddy party. Wes, are you okay? We need you. Somebody go check him. Yes.
Take that.
Oh my God. Remind me not to drink an unopened drink around West. You know, I don't want to wait for he's supposed to be.
Where the hell is this show going?
No, West, I gotta go. I'm supposed to go head to head. You ain't going nowhere. I see you walking like Dave Chappelle with some greasy lips.
Yeah.
Oh gosh. Anyway, the Saints handled it. Oh God, I already got pink eye and y'all making me cry. The Saints held up as long as they could, but they just could not establish the running game. Alvin Kamara only had 26 yards from scrimmage. They did include him in the passing game a little bit, but they just could not get anything going on the ground. West, let me see. I just want to say I'm walking around downtown Waikiki and listening to y'all out loud, getting all the weird looks. As you should, because you'll forget Hawaii.
Shout out to Hawaii though, being on live out in Hawaii. That's pretty dope.
I appreciate that because the analytics are going to look really, really crazy that I got a viewer coming in from Hawaii. So I do appreciate that. But yeah, so the Saints just couldn't really hold in. Derek Carr gets hurt towards the end of that game, has an oblique. He's going to be out. They're going to actually turn to their rookie quarterback, Ratter. I think that's how you say it, Ratter.
Spencer Rattler. Yep.
Yeah, Rattler out of
Carolina product. Carr might not get the job back, man.
Yeah, if he see how he performs, but yeah, so, it was already a prove-it year for Carr anyway. So any extended amount of time, that could definitely have that impact.
A lot of fans in New Orleans was calling for Rattler to even get the job at the beginning of the season. It's a similar situation to what Pittsburgh's got going on with the old vet and then the new kid.
Exactly.
So the people down in New Orleans, they got their wish. So we will see what happens from this point on.
Definitely see what happens. I did touch on the Ravens and the Bengals earlier. That was a crazy game. It seemed like Baltimore did everything they could to give that game away. Lamar didn't throw any interceptions, but he had some fumble snaps where he wasn't paying attention to the ball all the way through. And then at the end of the game, it came down to overtime, and that bad man ran. Jesus Christ. He broke open to the left, started sprinting down that sideline, and I thought he was almost in the end zone when they finally tackled Derrick Henry. This dude is a freaking machine.
You know, a couple of weeks ago, I want to say it may have been Anthony, but I might be wrong. But somebody on the show asked me, why was I afraid of Baltimore? And I answered the question because of the dual threat running attack of both Henry and the quarterback. I'm losing track of this damn name. Lamar. But yeah, now we're seeing the reason why those are being brought to fruition. They had a bit of a slow start there, but now they're in full gear, and you see the dual threat that I'm talking about. Baltimore is looking scary right now.
Yeah. And speaking about Joe Burrow again, Joe Burrow was 30 of 39, 392 yards. He almost had 400 yards passing, 5 touchdowns, 1 pick. That really wasn't even his fault. He got batted on him.
Mm-hmm.
And Jamar Chase caught 193 of those yards.
And
Joe
it
Burrow,
wasn't enough to win the game.
it came down to just some craziness, a missed field goal because the holder basically muffed it and tried to catch it at the end, but the kicker was already about ready to kick it and it just wasn't set. Went wide left on him, and that gave Baltimore the chance to drive the ball down enough. And once they got down below the 10-yard line, Harbaugh said, "I ain't playing around. This game has been weird. Justin, go kick this field goal and let's take it to the house." And that's exactly what they did. West,
Mm-hmm.
not gonna lie, I can see Washington winning this coming week against the Ravens. I could too if they can figure out how to keep Lamar in front of them and Derrick Henry at bay. Anthony says, "Wasn't me. I'm scared of Baltimore. My Washington Jaden Daniels will uh, play Lamar this weekend." It's
Okay.
it's going to be an interesting week. A lot of games coming up. I know we're right there out of time, but we got the 49ers and the Seahawks tomorrow. That is not a given the way the 49ers have been playing lately. Seahawks
Mm-hmm.
home, they could win that game. Bucks, Saints. This is going to be a fight for top of the NFC South, which is starting to look really, really interesting with the Bucks, Saints, and Atlanta. The Commanders and the Ravens is going to be at Baltimore, but it's really just across the river. Um, so we'll see how that game goes. We got the
Great game.
Packers and the Cardinals. Cardinals actually beat San Fran last week, so we'll see what they can do in Green Bay. Jordan Love looks like he's starting to get more of himself. Packers won their game without having their two top receivers in the game, one by suspension and one by injury. That is amazing. The
Yep.
Vikings and the Colts. Um, that should be an interesting game as well. We'll see how that one shakes out. You got the Texans at the Patriots. I think the Texans are going to go to New England and do what they do. Drake May is going to have an interesting start to his career there. You got the Doo-Doos going to the Eagles. Eagles, this is probably what you could have wished for other than the Panthers to show up on your schedule at this time. Still no word on if A.J. Brown or DeVonte Smith is going to play. It looks like DeVonte is a lot closer to playing than A.J. Brown is. So as long as he clears concussion protocol, has some good practices, he should be back out there too to help Jalen Hurts out. Chargers play the Broncos. That Broncos defense is looking formidable. Bo Nix is looking a little bit more comfortable lately.
Yeah.
You know,
Interesting.
I was clowning Bo Nix, but Bo Nix is looking pretty good.
Yeah.
So Sean Payton's demise may be a little bit highly exaggerated. Steelers go down. Yes. Steelers, I got you on this one.
Better.
Aiden O'Connell is going to see the name Watt a lot.
They make Aiden O'Connell look good. I'm going to be a very angry man next show.
I wouldn't blame you. The Lions and the Cow Bitches. Lions, you have no idea how much I want you to win this game.
Please.
I think your running game and the way that your offensive line lets Gibbs get loose is going to be too much for the Cowboys with or without Mike Parsons and Marcus Lawrence. I think if you can shut down CeeDee Lamb and make guys like Turpin and some of those other guys beat you, I think you have an absolute chance to go to the Big D and win that game. Dallas has not protected home field like they did last year, so they are for the get. Falcons play the Panthers in Carolina. Falcons will be taking a 4-hour victory trip back to Atlanta around, let's say about 7:30 because it's a 4:25 game. Bengals and the Giants. Daniel Jones actually played a pretty good game. He's been doing really well, even with his star receiver. But even with some of the other guys, their running game is actually pretty good. But I expect this to be still a game dominated by the Bengals because I don't think they have an answer for Jamar Chase. T. Higgins is now back. That is just going to add to it. So I really, really think the Bengals should capture that game. That's a Sunday night game. Monday night game is going to be the Bills and the Jets. This is going to be for first place early in the season. Brand new coach for the Jets. It's going to be in New York in the Meadowlands. I still think the Bills are going to win this game. Josh Allen looks like he's got a chip on his shoulder, and James Cook looked like Derrick Henry Jr. So I think that the Bills are actually going to come through. Anything on any of those games, Rand?
Just briefly, a lot of those games that you just ran down, a lot of put up or shut up type games, backs against the wall. What are you going to do? That San Francisco game against Seattle. San Francisco, if they lose this game, they'll be 0-3 in the division to start off the year. Nobody wants to be there. So it's put up or shut up time. My Steelers, you have lost 2 in a row. You're facing a quarterback that you should easily beat the brakes off of. Put up or shut up time. There's a lot of that around the league that I'm listening to. The Cleveland Browns and their opponent, you guys got your back against the wall right now too. You got a lot of negative press. Everybody talking badly about Watson. It is put up, shut up time for Watson too. So as you were running down the schedule, that was just what was on my mind.
Well, it's funny because Steven says A.J. Brown was full practice today. So A.J. Brown and DeVante Smith both come back, and you got Saquon and Jalen Hurts playing the doo-doos.
It's put up time. It's put up or shut up time for Philly too. Win that game.
It's definitely put up or shut up. If Philly comes bounce backs, and now they can get up to 3-2, then that puts them in a better position. They'll still be behind the red hot 4-1 Washington Commanders. The Commanders are not to be overlooked. I think Jaden Daniels is the truth. He is finding receivers. He's using his legs. He's doing a great job. And we will have to continue to see throughout the course of the season who's going to get Rookie of the Year, but it's definitely going to be a race between him and Caleb Williams. Unless Caleb's game against the Panthers was just an outlier and he kind of goes back to what he was before, it's going to be Jaden Daniels to lose. But Jaden Daniels is playing out of his mind right now. And sometimes you're just in a good situation and a good system, and they're doing good right now. Nobody would have predicted that the Washington Commanders at any point of the season would be first place in the division.
No, but I will give our show props on that because you and I both said that we felt that the Commanders could challenge the Cowboys. Maybe not the Eagles, but we felt they could challenge the Cowboys. We did say that.
And if things keep shaking out the way that they are, I got a feeling that it's going to go down to that. At some point, I feel like the Eagles are going to get their act together. I have less confidence in the Cowboys doing that. And it's really going to come down to the Cowboys fighting to stay out of fourth place if the Giants keep doing what they're doing.
Yeah.
So, all right, y'all. Well, look, sorry for the little break in Spectrum wanting to boot me out, but we got it in anyway. I want to thank all y'all for tuning in. Make sure that whether you're watching the live or watching the replay, like, share, subscribe. We definitely appreciate that. We will see y'all again next week. So y'all take care. Thanks, Rand. We'll see y'all again.